you're listening to the Mackay T Show podcast. Here are your hosts, Brian Mackay and T Davis.
What time is it?
It's time for the Mackay T Show.
What time is it?
I said it's time for the Mackay T Show.
Welcome back to the Mackay T Show podcast. We're going to jump right into something T and I spoke about. I know off air last week. I don't think we talked about it on air. But T has a few proposed changes to the NCAA recruitment process that she would like to discuss here today. So I'm going to give my co-host the floor.
So, Brian, I feel like it has been my experience and my witness, because I haven't been a full-on coach that's been out recruiting, but I've been around the system. And I've seen the AAU tournaments and I've seen all this. I don't know how you feel, but at this point, it is almost as if ego is as a big of a part in the recruitment than anything. Because these kids, you got to call them, tell them how much you love them, how much you want them. They got to get letters every day, calls, tweets, something. Otherwise, I guess they think that you don't want them in their program. That's a lot of energy. Why do I have to, well, not I, but any institution has to do all this work? Because if you've been behind the curtain, people that have coached or been around it or have family members, it's unreasonable, the stuff that they do, and they do it and it's their job. But sending out flyers every day, every week, calling the kids, at least weekly, a couple of times a week, most, if you're a good kid and they really, really want you, or like you are all McDonald All-American, you getting calls probably from a coach every day. The little bit that it was annoying. Some of the people calling me, I didn't want to talk to them. So I propose.
And let's be clear, you were in the time before cell phones. But go ahead.
Well, they still was calling me though every day on my house phone.
Understood.
So imagine getting text messages. I guess they can send text messages and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just can't. Well, I feel like, just like me and you, when we go apply for a job and we want to work somewhere, if they have an opening, I think that athletes should have to apply for the job. Now, jobs do recruit, because there are jobs that have recruiters, quote unquote. So there can be a both and here, not just taken away.
Right.
But all of the excessive calling, texting, sending letters, that needs to cease. Once we killing too many trees for nothing, because them kids don't do nothing. They look at that stuff for a little while, they can brag about it, and then it's God knows where. But Brian wants to go to the University of Florida. He thinks that he might want to go to Florida State. He thinks he might want to go
to the U.
Well, the U.
Yeah.
He might want to go to Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
He might want to go to Jackson State. I don't know. I don't know if you want to go to Jackson State, but you could want to go to an HBCU down there with Deion Sanders and all of that. Speaking of, we got what's going on with the water down there? This is a break. Pause.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get the water back on in Jackson? Remember, it's been almost, I think, a month that they ain't had. I say remember that they ain't had water or something.
We have not heard anything else about it, so I'm assuming that means it's fixed. Because they ain't gonna tell you when it's fixed. They just gonna tell you when it's a problem. Because that's when it's news. So.
Right. Okay. So anyway, I think Brian, me, whoever, I want to go to your institution. You might send out one letter saying, hey, or two, we would like for you to come and attend our school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. we have a mutual liking here. Like on the job, you might get several offers. You might go in for an interview. So the kid come to campus, you show them around. They should be looking at you as well as vice versa. You recruiting them. Because sometimes I think kids be out there just having fun and they ain't kind of really paying that much attention and just going off of feelings. So now we got a mutual liking. Do you want a job or not? Now I ain't saying you got to sign on the dotted line. You can still have these deadlines of this is when you need to know, but you need to understand. I just like any other job, there are a couple of candidates that we like. The first candidate, once we offer that takes the position, gets the position. So if you want to go to Florida, you you might want to court and look at some other places. You gotta go ahead and sign because if T beat Brian to the spot, oh well, it's gone.
Yeah, it's
Because a
taken.
lot of times, go ahead.
No, yeah, I was just saying it's taken. It's time, you
Yeah,
know.
a lot of times it's like you need two guards or a center. What like you kind of know what you need, and
Right.
so hey, that's it. And we not gonna call you every day. No job. When I apply for jobs, they don't call me every day. Even if they say they want me, they might check in and be like, "Hey, you still interested in the position?" or something like that. So they can still call, periodic and be like, "Hey, we still would like you. We still have an opening." But all this calling every day and trying to puff up your ego, I don't know what these kids because I knew where I wanted to go to school. Like when I went to that campus, I was like, this is it. I went on one other visit. I didn't go on the other three because it was just like for what? I didn't need an ego boost, and so I went to the other place. It was fine enough, but it wasn't the feeling that I had when I was at Florida, and that was it. These kids be playing. Oh well, I'm committed here. No, I don't want to go here. I'm decommitting. That's no. We're gonna start you to growing up real fast. You gonna make a decision, and
And even like before they get to the point of official visits where they get their 5, they most of these kids have already been on unofficial visits to this
right,
same school multiple times throughout their process. Because I can remember working when I was with Ole Miss, we would have kids come in on their official visits that we already were like best friends with. Like, 'cause we had already seen them when they were sophomores, when they were freshmen,
right.
and they come to camps, you know. So it's like I already knew these kids.
So this can we can cut back on all this travel money and stuff that coaches. You can still go like they're recruiting fairs.
Hmm.
So that's still AAU. You can still go to AAU tournaments, kids, and still play. You might find somebody that you didn't even know was out there, and you might have a space and you offer. Again, jobs do offer. Most and generally, people look for jobs. They have a listing like you go on sites that list who has a job. And this is where I might be interested in playing. I like cold weather. I like warm weather. I don't care about the weather. I don't want to be in the south. I don't want to be in the west coast. That's too far from home. Whatever it is, as you dwindle down why you want to go to this institution, you explain. Yeah, you express a interest in them. Their interest. Let's connect. You come visit. The visit wasn't as great as I thought it would be. Let me go to another place. And all this running around and chasing these kids and trying to puff up their ego and tell them how much you want them. Because then they feel some kind of way when they get to the school and then it's like, oh, the coach is mean, quote unquote. Not really mean, but it ain't the same fluffy, I love you, how are you doing talk. Like you might get
Yeah,
cursed out in practice or something, but um, then you feel like some kind of way when that changes because now they have you and the rules have changed. Well, not so much now because of this portal, which is, I guess, I guess, I mean, we leave our jobs if we want them, but I feel like this portal getting outrageous, Brian.
yeah, and this year, like I was telling T, this year especially with the whole basically any kind of waiver gets waived right now because of the virus. This past year, the transfer portal has gotten even more ridiculous because just they're all popping in there, hoping to get their waiver, hoping so they can play immediately. And yeah, it's not a good scene.
I think, we always the initial thought I think this came about was because coaches can leave, why can't players? I
And me and
think
you were both for this
right.
initially, but yeah,
But yes, because yes, indeed, I was like, yeah, coaches can leave, why can't players? But maybe the stipulation should be like, hey, you got to stay here. You recruit these kids, you got to stay here a little while. You can't up and leave the next year. You got to stay make a 2-year commitment or 3-year, whatever it's gonna be, and that's on both ends. If the person losing, you can't up and fire them. Now, obviously, if they do something egregious or something, all bets are off. But um, yeah, some changes need to be made. And my final change, Brian, which I think I forgot to tell you, is I think there needs, no, I think I told you, there needs to be some changes to the rules, at least the men's on the court, because watching the 50 to 60 point games, while the NBA is outrageous with the 120s and the 110s,
hmm
55 to 60 ain't it. Like I was just like, I can't watch this. And I don't even know how I feel about that charge charge line, the little arch where if your heel touching or something, it's a charge.
yes,
Cause I was just like, okay, he blatantly ran him over, even though his foot was on. Like, what does that matter? Like, so some changes need to be made because the Stars soon. I don't know if the NBA has made the decision yet, but we had heard where they were about to get rid of that one year, like 1 year removed.
understand people, and I say this with the most gist that I could possibly say it. So please don't take the serious tone in my voice for me being serious at all when I say this. That rule's getting changed when Bronny James is a senior. Don't you worry. That's when that rule will be changed.
Well, they've been talking about it before then,
I know
and I could
because
see that helping.
the NBA
So that he could have right,
yeah
so that they could have the father son playing at the
hmm
same time potentially.
yes
Uh, I something got to give. I don't know. Coaches might like it. I don't know why you would like it. I think resources could be used better for the students that are on campus. And I'm not saying that all schools aren't doing this, but uh, I was listening to a podcast. Shout out to Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp's podcast, and he was talking to Ricky Williams, and Ricky Williams had his 5 things he was looking for in school and all this, that, and the fifth. And he was saying that he went to one school. He was like the environment wasn't what he thought it was, and the other requirements were there. But when he got there, and I was like, yeah, this is a thing that you don't have to do. But he also talked about this is as far as begging these kids to come. Like, you need to have a list. I don't even know how many of them really have a list. They just want a big name. So, and the parents too. Oh, my kid go to UConn. But sidebar, back to the resources. So he and quite often athletes have not developed their identities they have identities that don't relate to an athlete. Now they talk about you being a student athlete, but we want to say you more than an athlete. That's LeBron them little things.
hmm
But I don't. It takes a while, and I don't think the school. I know I wasn't. Nobody was trying to help me identify any other identity that I had. Like just growing up and living and being around people, it started to develop. But nobody was like intentional. I'll say about, hey, what do you like outside of this? How are you helping that grow? How are you flourishing? What do you want to do when this sports thing over? Because there's don't a lot of these kids, most of them not going to play. Some of them will go overseas, but even that, like most of them not going overseas to play. Like there's just so many jobs that to be had. Or some of them just don't gonna want to move on because they don't like the sport that much or whatever it is. So how have you helped them develop as young men and women?
Yes.
So you can find resources. And if you're looking for someone, I'm looking. I ain't looking for no job, but I would enjoy working with athletes
Mm.
around their dimensions of wellness, the 8 dimensions. In a way, that was just a pub for me, a job. I'm also a certified health coach.
Yeah, so my only thing I would like to say on this, and it has more to do with the transfer portal. I don't know if it's a high school counselor. I don't know if it's the college coaches themselves, parents. Someone has to get these kids to understand. Like, they're young, they're impressionable, but at the same time, they have to do for themselves. Like you were saying, you knew what you wanted, and you knew what you were looking for, and you knew when you got to Florida, you found it, and you took one other trip, and you saw that what you felt that Florida wasn't there. These kids have got to go on these visits with understandings of looking out for things. Talk to people, find out, talk to the players at the school, talk to the people that you meet, listen to what they're saying. See if that's something that's really, really interesting to you, and don't just make a decision and think, okay, well, if I don't like it after the year, I can just get in the
I can
transfer
just
portal.
leave.
Yeah, because that's, in theory, is not what the transfer portal should be about. If there's a bad situation, yeah, that's what the transfer portal should come in. But just because you chose a school and I'm not playing, so
Right.
yeah,
I'm leaving.
these kids have to be better about looking into the roster makeup. Do I fit on this roster? You know,
Am I gonna get playing time?
right?
Forget what the coach can, because you
If that
you should
means
be
something to
astute
you,
enough, right?
because sometimes kids don't care if they play or not; they just want to wear the jersey, and that's sadly is becoming more and more of a thing in today's culture. Um,
Yeah.
as I've heard, because I have a lot of friends in the high school circuit down here where I'm from, and they tell me that the kids literally don't care anything about winning, playing. They just want the jersey to say they were on the team, help their college resume if they want to go to college, things like that. So, yeah. So have you a list of things you want to know in mind before you go on these visits.
And would you be there if this coach doesn't stay? Do you like the institution enough? Like, because really, that's really should be why you're there.
Right. Don't
Is this the engineering program or business program or whatever like that? Unless the that comes in is just way left and you no, I can't do it.
right, and that's always a possibility to that happening, and that could be a situation where the transfer portal, comes into play. But don't make your decision 100% solely on the coach. Have that be a part of it, sure, because you want to know if you're gonna be able to mesh with this person.
Because in life, you're going to go to interviews. The people are going to seem great. Your supervisor's going to seem fine, and you get to the job and be like, "This ain't the same person," or "I didn't know this about this person," because you can only get a glimpse. Even on these recruit visits, you're only getting a snapshot of these people.
Right.
They're putting their best foot forward, just like you would when you were dating somebody. That's how this goes. So in a real job, most in generally, we do not have opportunities to come up. Like, I don't like this job at Ole Miss. Well, I'm gonna just find another one. There are opportunities, but they don't just pop right up. And like how this porter kind of works, people do come and grab the kids up. That ain't how real life works. It takes a while to find a job
Yep.
and a good fit. So, do your due diligence. The school is gonna they gonna tell you everything how great you are anyway, like because they want you to come. But You need to understand if you can stay there, whether coach is good or not, because coaches come and go.
Speaking of good fits, transitioning terribly into
Oh Lord have mercy.
our women's basketball tournament preview. Now we don't have a bracket yet because Selection
It's
Monday
tonight.
has yet to happen. We are recording this Monday morning. For those who are listening to this next week, yeah.
That's hilarious.
So Selection Monday yet to happen, but I have a good enough idea on a couple of things that you should look out for.
All right, what we looking for? Matt?
So
Who a surprise pick? Who you think a surprise into?
okay, well, first of all, I'm gonna give just my thoughts. Now, I know every bracketology you see Charlie Krim put out, and he does a lot of research. And I'm not talking about this man at all. I think his top 4 seeds are just fine. But for me, I have to put NC State in the top 4 line, and I don't know who
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking off out of Stanford, UConn, South Carolina, and Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, but even though they've been number 1 seed here recently, I want to say it's UConn, just solely off of their conference schedule because they play absolutely no one.
Bless
Excuse me, thank you. So yes, UConn, and like my other co-host on another podcast, Debbie Antonelli, has stated,
you.
she
Shout out
doesn't.
Debbie. How
Yes,
about I didn't know who that was, Brian?
that's
I knew the
hilarious.
name, but then
Yeah,
when I saw her picture, I was like, "Oh, her." That's
yeah.
hilarious. Okay, go ahead.
Debbie is on record on our podcast as saying that she doesn't believe UConn will even be challenged in the new Big East until maybe 5, 6 years from now. So,
Did I miss something? What is the new Big East? Is some more playoff teams or something?
well,
Like that?
they're back in the Big East, but it's not and I call it the new Big East because it's
Oh,
not the Big East of old. Because Syracuse in there, Georgetown, I think Georgetown is, no? Anyway, Syracuse, all the teams that used to be in
let's
the
see
Big
who in the
East when it
Big
was
East.
at its heyday are
Mm-hmm.
no longer there. So, yeah, it's not the same.
Okay.
So yeah, that's
Well, it really don't matter that much. Villanova, Georgetown, Marquette, Seton Hall, UConn, St. John's, Creighton, DePaul, Xavier.
yeah. And
Um,
DePaul is
is Butler?
Doug
Butler.
Bruno is still there, so he's always going to be somewhat competitive. He wasn't this year because of the virus and things like that. But
Louisville, West Virginia, Pitt. Hold on, this ain't like too big.
that's ACC there. When you can
Yeah,
use
I finna say
ACC.
this. No, this what this got on here, the Big
Mm,
East Conference, but somebody lying. I was like, this ain't right. Hold on.
yes, Lord.
Okay, yeah, Butler, Creighton, DePaul, Georgetown, Marquette, Providence. I forgot about the Friars. What's a Friar? Anyway.
Mm. But as far as teams to look out for, I gotta go. And wherever they get put in the bracket, I need you to circle Iowa. Iowa has a freshman point guard who is leading the nation in scoring and is top 5 in the nation in assists. Her name is Caitlin Clark. And had they not run into a Maryland team that had been well rested in the Big Ten championship game, uh, it probably would have been a lot better because Iowa been playing since day one of the Big Ten tournament, so they had to play every day. And by the championship game, they were just out of gas, and Maryland was a buzzsaw. And Maryland's also a very good team to look out for if you want to put someone else on your watch list. But Iowa is a team to look out for. Um, let me see. I already mentioned NC State, Iowa State, Bill Finley, Blueprint Bill. Doesn't matter who he's playing against. He always come up. He always comes up with a great game plan, and he has a phenom, Ashley Jones, who was another player to look out for. The Jackrabbits, South Dakota State,
What
always
I
a
about to say,
always
what
a,
is
a
the
dangerous out. Troy women's basketball, if they can get a matchup that is befitting of their stature, usually they get put in that 16 or 15 spot.
in South
Uh,
Carolina or something?
yeah, so if they can get a decent matchup, they have a chance to make noise. Just because of the way they play, they score 95 to 100 every game. Um, let's see.
You
Oh,
think that
this will
you
make you
think
happy. This will make you
go ahead.
happy real quick. UC Davis, the Big West champions.
Yeah, that's my video game team.
I love UC Davis the way they play. I would have loved to see because they only played a conference schedule this year because of the virus. I would have loved to see them because they had games scheduled, I believe, against Stanford, UCLA, and I always would have loved to see them play those games to see what kind of how they match up. Obviously, I don't think they would have won either one of those because talent, but I would love to see how they matched up with teams like that because that would have gave me a better barometer for them going into the tournament.
I think a lot of it's gonna happen this year.
I do
Um,
too. I do too because I think the seeding they're doing it on the S curve this year, which is a true 1 through 64. So they're basically 1 and 64 is going to play each other. 2 and 63 in theory. So and they're not going to do it by geography because all four regions are Texas regions. You got the Alamo region, you got the Riverwalk region, the Mercado, the Hemisphere, and it's all going to wind up in San
oh, I ain't
Antonio.
comfortable going to Texas. They out here lifting they
Yeah,
protocols,
and
whatever.
the NCAA has already come out and said that they will still have a mask mandate at all their events. So, but yeah,
You don't stay in a bubble.
that's not
Okay,
good.
go ahead. We not go ahead.
I understand. No, yeah, but yeah, obviously Rutgers does not score very well, but the way they play defense and the athletes they have is always another tough out. In Arizona, they have a very good team, and their best player, the Pac-12 Player of the Year, Ari McDonald, is already declared for the WNBA draft. So this is going to be her last
Wait
run.
a minute, she finished.
So
Hold on,
I expect
she
her.
graduated early.
Yeah, she could have got an extra year because of this virus, but she's foregoing that extra year,
Forget all that. I
and
understand.
she this being her last run, we actually had them on Debbie's podcast. Her and a couple of her teammates, Kate Reese and Sam Thomas. Uh, I really enjoyed listening to them and you can tell they kind of have a very good cohesiveness about them. So I expect them to make a deep run as well. So that's my take. We'll get more into the women's bracket next week after obviously a couple of games will have been played by then. But yeah, we'll get more into that. You had something you were saying. I'm sorry, I cut you off a minute ago.
Oh, they wasn't important. I don't remember.
well, we'll get more into the women's bracket next
Well,
week.
I think it's gonna be a lot of upsets because,
No,
well,
that's
one,
for
there ain't really
sure.
no home court advantage, and
Yes,
it ain't really like it's only a few teams that even South Carolina, like they not unbeatable. Like they could mess around, and play around, and come out flat and lose. Like most of these teams, like Texas A&M got UConn. Was it UConn they beat? Arkansas. Arkansas got UConn early
Arkansas.
this year.
Yes, they're another
So
team that plays a high octane offense that scores a bunch of points. That if they get the right matchups, they could make a run.
yeah, so it could be one of them Cinderella stories this year where you have a couple of teams nobody picked to go to the Final Four.
Which
What
usually
about
never happens in the women's
not in
bracket.
women's? That's
No,
a rarity. The men it happens quite often, but what about testing protocol? Do we know what they doing? Are they not testing since it's gonna be so many teams? So like one person catches it could be an outbreak in teams.
I know when they announced the men's brackets, the first four out, which included Ole Miss men's basketball.
Oh,
Um,
let's find out.
yeah, for the men, when they announced the men's brackets, they said that those first four out would be
Hmm.
like alternate teams for any team that has to disqualify because of the virus. They would be brought
What
in. But
what
here's
kind of
my question
mess?
on that:
What
why don't you just, if you're gonna do that, why don't you just bring them on to Indianapolis? And that's where the men's gonna be. Why don't you just bring those teams on in there? Because if you don't put them in the bubble, Who's to say they won't get caught up with the virus?
No, forget that. They need to go on and be like, well, you lose.
Or that just move them on. Yeah, move on to next team. This is true.
Well, okay. I was wondering what they plan for that was with you having these regions, and again, you in Texas, and they got open kind of season down now. All right, go ahead.
So yeah, I know my co-host wanted to share a little bit more from John Thompson's book this week.
Yes. So the Kimbe Mutombo, I just had to tell this story because somebody told him about the Kimbe being the African. He was like, okay, whatever. Like, yeah. Because now this is well before all these, like the NBA has so many international players. Like this was before then. And while Patrick Ewing is from, I want to say Jamaica. He might be from Jamaica.
Yes.
Okay. He had his family, his mom and him had come over, and then the mama worked and got money and brought the dad and them over. So he had lived in America for a little while now. So um somebody brought the Kimbe to his attention, and he was like, oh, okay. Well, he's like, well, how tall is Ned? It's like, oh, he's six, whatever, he's 6'10" or whatever. And he was like, okay. So he said when he sent, he was he might have saw some video of him, but you can't really tell. I think he couldn't tell how big he was.
Right.
And so like he could be 6'5", but if the other people around him like 5'10", then he gonna look really big. He said when he sent them to pick the Kimbe up from the airport, he was like, look, I want y'all to, if you hide, you look, if he not 6'11", 7 feet or whatever, you run and leave that. And he liked to curse. He said, leave that. I want to say he said, leave that MF at the airport. I like it. He said, and then whoever they sent, he said they told him they was like when they got off the plane, sometimes you get off the plane, you don't go into the thing, you get off on the tarmac and
Right.
walk down and then into the building. They hide behind garbage cans and trying to see how. Yes, I was like, you got to be kidding me. But then he was 7 feet tall and it all worked out. But yeah, I was like, what? You told them to leave him at the airport if they see him and he ain't like 6'10", 11, whatever it was. And I was like, hilarious.
A mess. That is funny.
And then he talked about, well, I think I talked about how his son had success. And he was trying not to be in his son's, when his son got the job. His son was doing well at Princeton, I want to say, because his son went to Princeton to play basketball. And he had success at Georgetown, went to the Final Four and all. And then, or I don't know if he might have been the Elite Eight Sweet, but he had some success early, won the ACC or Big East, championship. And but then the next several years he never found that magic, and it's hard. He talked about how him and some other schools had done well and been to the Final Four a couple of times. He was like, it's not easy. Like so much stuff have to happen, and so many things have to go in your favor for for you to make it. So then I wanted to talk about him because now you see Patrick Ewing having some success, and they had that big upset to get in the tournament. And Patrick went twice. They were upset once. Oh, I forgot who beat them. And then they went back and won. Or they won the first time and then went back and was upset. Patrick went twice. He was saying that he wanted Patrick to leave early. And they was like, he was one of the few coaches that was like, nope, you need to leave and not come back. It was a whole thing about that.
Could you imagine if Patrick had come out the year before and had in the draft class that was already loaded with Michael, Elijah Wan, Charles Barkley, John Stockton? It could add Patrick Ewing to that draft class. Lord.
Well, and that was one of the things.
Maybe Portland wouldn't have made a bad mistake on Sam Bowie.
Sam Bowie, that was the worst. and that was one of the things I think the agent was trying to tell him was like, look, Elijah won in his class, and
Right.
like he not gonna go first or like just gonna come back, have a good season, and then he probably gonna be the number one pick and all. So that's why the agent was like, no, he should stay one more year. And he
So
wanted
this
to
is
stay
where.
because his mom, he as in Patrick Ewing wanted to stay because his mom, she died unfortunately before like a couple of years into him playing.
Mm.
I forgot how she died, but she always wanted him to get his degree, and so he was able to do all that.
So
And now he's coaching.
what I'm hearing is Patrick Ewing's agent knew that New York was gonna get the first pick, and that they were gonna get given. Uh, they were basically gonna be given that first pick and given Patrick Ewing. This was out. This is where the conspiracy
Well, no,
started.
I ain't say that, but I did say that year that you're talking about, John Thompson, he had a good run. They had gone to the Final Fours, and he was like, "You should go," because basically he didn't want him to get hurt. And
Right.
then, but the guy was like, "Well, chances are he not gonna go that high because you know nobody knew about Michael Jordan like being this great, but you did have Michael Jordan, you had Elijah One and all them in that, and so the higher you went, the more money you got. Unlike now, they just got this flat rate, for lack of a better word, for rookies. I mean, you get a little scale up if you number 1, 2, and 3, but it's pretty much a flat rate. You don't make but so much money
Right.
because Ewing was actually one of the highest paid players for a rookie. He was getting $3 million a year, which sounds like peanuts with what they making now.
Right.
But he was making $3 million a year, which was one of the top rookie pay rates at that time.
Interesting.
And now he's coaching his alma mater, and they going to the big dance.
Back in
They
the big
upset
dance.
somebody. I
Hey,
can't even remember who it was.
listen, they back in the big dance. It's all that matters.
Right, they upset because they were like an 8 seed, and maybe it was a 2 seed, Creighton, maybe.
Creighton, yes, that's what it was.
Hmm.
Yes. So speaking of the big dance, um, let's just hit because that bracket is actually out, so I can actually look at it and tell you who I believe to look out for. Your number one seeds are Gonzaga, Baylor, Michigan, and Illinois. Um, so I
Okay,
don't know.
Gonzaga. Let me just say right quick, Brian.
Okay,
Do if it's now or never. Go ahead.
this is if they don't win it this year, Mark Few needs to just understand they probably never gonna win it.
Yeah, it's now or never. Just go on ahead and throw in the towel. Go
And
ahead.
I do have them uh, making it all the way. In my preliminary bracket, this is in pencil. It's not in pen yet. I do have them making it to the championship game. I haven't just picked a winner yet, but yeah. So I do think, and I don't know if that boy. Michigan has a player that's out. That's why they got beat in the Big Ten tournament. I don't know if he will be back. They've not had any word on his.
Status.
Yes, but they did give him a number one seed, so maybe the bracket people know more than I know. But if he is not able to play, I think Alabama could win out of that side of the East bracket.
When was the
Or
last time they won? Because when I saw they won the SEC championship, I was like,
the
that was
first time since 1991,
I was gonna say that was all. That was when Robert Ory was
Robert
playing.
Orr and them, yes.
Go ahead. Hmm.
And yeah, that's the last time they won an SEC championship. And if LSU would have won, it was be the last time. Well, even if they won or lost, the last time they played in the SEC championship game was 1993. So you had two.
Yeah, I was telling my brother, I was like, "Oh, Miss don't won one since Alabama had recently." But go
Shout
ahead.
out to Clark. Speaking of Clark Holter, the trainer for Alabama men's basketball team, former trainer at Ole Miss men's basketball when they won their SEC championship, got his second SEC championship as a trainer.
Watch
Congratulations,
out.
Clark. So if him and his wife Liz are listening,
That's hilarious.
hilarious. So
Oh, Clark. Now I know when you said Liz.
that's why I threw it in there to see
When
if
you
you would
said
know.
Liz, now I know.
Yeah,
Oh, I remember. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
I had to slide that one in there. But no, Alabama, I believe, has a good shot at coming out the East, and also Michigan State, who is in the playing game against UCLA for the 11th spot in the East. They have been playing some of their best basketball. Earlier they struggled, and that's why they're the 11th seed. But they've been playing some of their best basketball as of late, and I think they are starting to play like they should be playing. Should have been playing all along. So there's another team to watch out for because they have a good draw. I mean, Texas is a very good team, but they're very beatable in the second round if they get by BYU. And the Hoyas are right there. Florida State's right there. The East is loaded. Jesus. As I'm looking at
Yeah, they
it,
look like they don't throw all the
yeah.
big names over. Well, not all, but Texas, Maryland.
Oh, you know who else is in the East? Alabama plays them in the first
I'm
round.
about to say Alabama. Oh,
Pretty
I don't know.
Ricky back
Alabama
in the
better watch
tournament.
out.
The suits are coming back to the NCAA tournament. Pretty Ricky, Rick
Hey,
Pitino.
he better watch out because
Ooh,
he can
ooh.
get them. That'll be had a 215 been an upset once.
Yes,
It could happen again.
it's eight times. They're 8 and 124, I believe. The 15 seed is against 2.
So Alabama, don't go down there playing. You thinking, oh, that's our owner.
So yes, so Pretty Ricky
Where's
is
our
back
owner,
in.
Brian?
How about don't ask
Oh,
me.
okay. I guess I can look it up.
So hold on, Alexa, where is Iona University?
It's in New York. Wait a minute. Tell her.
It ain't no 69 miles away. I don't know what you talking about.
Tell her we didn't answer that. We asked her where was it.
And it's closed till 8 a.m. Anyway, moving
I
moving
can't.
on.
It's in New Jersey.
Yes, yeah,
Look like.
somebody needs an update.
No, that's where they played the game. Where is our owner? Lord, even Lexa don't even know. Go ahead.
But yeah, moving right along. Tennessee got a they should be higher than a 5 seed, so they could be someone to look out for in the Midwest.
I know it is in New York. Go ahead.
I thought it
Sorry.
was
New Rochelle.
Whoever comes out of that defensive battle of Loyola Chicago and Georgia Tech will be a hard out.
Georgia Tech back. I guess I'm old, and I remember
You looking for
the
Kenny Anderson and them?
when was Marbury and all them was down. What did Marbury play down?
Yeah, Stephon Marbury.
Yeah, and the shooter. They had a shooter with him, or it might have been a shooter with another with Ken and them. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, Liberty against Oklahoma State.
Liberty. Do. Sorry,
Oklahoma State has
commercial.
Kay Cunningham, very very good player, but they have a very young team. So Liberty has a chance to make some noise if they can get by Oklahoma State. Loyola Chicago is interesting to me. They're back in the tournament. Sister Jean gonna be. Is she
Sister
still out?
back. She can't be out now. Now she can't be out here unless she don't have her 2 shots.
I hope they put her on Zoom and have her at the game because I need Sister Jean to be there.
She might be fully vaccinated and might be willing. Who knows?
Ralph Sampson in Houston, 2 seed in the Midwest, is a very good team. I watched them win their championship yesterday.
Brian, you know what's funny? So when you younger and you watching it and you see the men coaching, you don't think of them as having played. But now, like you saying, Ralph Sampson, you see Patrick Ewing, you see Jawan Howard. I think that's how his first name, Jawan. And you like, oh, they used to play. I remember when they played it. He was on the Fab Five. Oh, I remember when he took Georgetown to.
Why did I say Ralph? Child, I said Ralph Sampson. I meant Kelvin Sampson, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, so Ralph, but still, a lot of these guys that's coaching now, like
Right.
Stackhouse. I don't know what he did at Vanderbilt, and that's obviously he coached. But
He coaching everybody's kids, Scottie Pippen, Kenyon Martin.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, And they not in this tournament, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah, a lot of former players out there coaching. That's interesting. Yeah. So as I'm looking, I'm still in the Midwest. Loyola Chicago, I've already mentioned because they can play some defense. Syracuse, always on the bubble. It look death, taxes, and Jim
Syracuse in the
Boeheim
zone.
on the bubble. They on the bubble every year, and they always get in. And their defense travels.
That zone.
Yes, their defense is always scary. So there's some speed. But if we're gonna go offensively in the South bracket, if Utah State and Arkansas wind up playing each other in the second round, that could get up in the 200s. They could break the scoreboard.
Well, that'd be fun because these low scoring games, y'all can have it.
Yeah. The McClung boy for Texas Tech might have something to say against Utah State. That's their boy that
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
but
If you haven't seen that, Brian introduced me to that.
you
It
need to
is
check it out.
very. I mean, I felt some kind of way just watching it because I'm not gonna tell you how it builds up. I want you people to go out and check it out.
Yeah, just search Utah State men's basketball, I believe.
And it's just, I was just like, I love it. I really love it. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I got distracted.
I think his name is Max McClung that plays Texas Tech. He's the white kid that became a YouTube sensation, doing all these crazy dribbling but yeah, people will know him for that. Instagram, I should say, better than YouTube. But yeah, doing all those crazy moves and this, that, and the other shot and crazy shots. But he is at Texas Tech and has been doing a very good job for them this year. Purdue is another team in the South that plays really good defense, so they'll have a chance. Villanova is a 5 seed, but I wouldn't count them out because they've always been there. North Carolina is very big. They're young, but they're very big. So they could give Baylor some trouble in the second round. But I still see Baylor pulling that off. That Baylor's another team. But if Baylor and Gonzaga don't make it to the championship game, they might need to rethink the way they do things. Because
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm telling you, Brian, it's going to be some
it's
upsets.
gonna be some upset, and this is gonna be a
And I think
fun.
this going to be more upsets than normal. Hold
It's
on,
just
the Gators made it in?
they a 7 seed Virginia Tech.
Oh, Lord. They got the Hokies.
They
Okay, this is a sidebar. Okay, go ahead. We're going to do it after this.
no, I was done. I done
Okay. Side, who's top, maybe we should do a top 5 on chants that we like for schools. Cause I think Utah, I really haven't seen. Like, I really like that the way they do that. I believe thing.
You have to go, and when the world opens back up, people, if you have a
Maybe that
chance,
could be on our bucket list. We could
it
go down
has
there.
to be because it's something that you have to experience live. You'll get a feeling just watching the video, but if
Right,
you
and I
are
can't
live,
imagine being in there with them being loud and all the people and the energy that comes with
oh, let
people
me just
being.
tell you, I'm getting goosebumps now just thinking about it.
Yeah, I was just like, I like it. I'm excited. I want to go shoot. And my niece was like, no, you don't. You really don't. You really don't. Or you gonna pay the price.
Yes,
Well, it should be fun. Is CBS got some of these games? Maybe I can see some of them. Cause then,
CBS, TBS, TNT,
see, cause TBS and them be messing me up, and I don't get to see much.
and True TV.
And now they be tripping. Oh, you can only watch so many hours, and then they want you to have cable and use your cable provider. And I was like, do y'all want me to see this or not? Cause I ain't caring that much that I don't have cable and I'm not getting it. So I remember a time when I could just kind of throw the CBS on on the internet, and they
Hmm.
just had the games going, and they'll flip from game to game. But maybe those times are over. I see my Gators play Virginia Tech Friday at 12:15. Is that Eastern Standard Time? Yeah. So I
Yes,
might see if they got that on the internet.
people,
Um,
do not fill out your brackets with any trepidation this year. Just go with God, and fill out your bracket because you. as they normally would, their first day, they probably gonna be busted anyway. So just go with your gut and go with God. And
Yeah, it's gonna be some upsets. I can feel it
so
in my jealous.
this year is going to be upset city,
You feeling your jealous?
and oh, I can't wait. But yeah, maybe next week we will do. Now that you said that, we will do a top five coming next week. Top five on best best college what do we want to call it? Best chance.
A chant, I guess, is a chant.
Maybe with best in game experience. Well,
Well, I haven't been to enough, but I know some chants. Hotty toddy, gosh almighty.
okay,
I
we'll do that.
know.
We'll do that. We'll go to because even though I
Hokey,
cannot,
hokey, hokey, high.
Lord have mercy,
Polytech, Virginia, Soul Rock and Soul Rye. All that.
and even though I cannot stand it, it just makes me just quiver when I hear it. That Woo Pig Suey is something special too, Arkansas,
When all them people doing it, it's a mess.
and they calling them hogs, man.
It's a mess. And I think it might be offensive a little bit, Brian. I'm not sure if it's offensive to be calling these
A
people
little bit,
hogs a little,
a little bit.
but be like, that ain't
especially,
what you do to people. But okay,
especially in the women's game.
yeah.
Mm.
So it might be a little bit offensive. But then even because somebody told me what State was saying um when we what's the song that we do the Hotty Toddy Gosh Almighty?
Oh, how to tie that gosh almighty, who the
Dun
hell?
dun
Yeah.
dun hey.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know exactly Mississippi State's version of how to tie
Yeah, so but somebody told me what theirs was, and it was like maroon, white,
yeah.
fight, dogs fight, Mississippi State, woo. You're darn right. Obviously it's not darn, but
Right.
and we do hotty toddy, gosh almighty at the end of that, if my memory serves me correctly. Da-da-da. And then Florida just say, go Gators. Da-da-da-da.
And you know the
Go
chant.
Gators.
Even if you ain't never been to the school, when you hear that beat, you know what's coming.
I'm gonna tell you one that I love, and I'm gonna just give you one right now. Besides I love intro LSU's dun 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 boom boom. I love to hear that when it's live and that band play that. Well, you know how much I love the band.
Yes.
I be like, I just love that little sound. Dun 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 dun. Okay, I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Quickly before we wrap up, I don't have any, but do you have any sayings for this week?
Um, Brian, hold on. We talked about it was some wolf tickets out there. Did y'all find out what happened to
They got
them? Yeah,
sold.
who out here selling them? Have you heard somebody say, "I don't give a who shot gun, who shot John"?
I have heard that, and it never made sense to
What?
me.
But exactly. What are we doing? I don't give a who shot John.
Who is John, and why did he get shot, and why does it not matter?
Exactly. You know, one of the things that people and my buddy, shout out Larry, always talks about this because you were saying about one that people use incorrectly,
Hmm.
and so if you, I may be using this word incorrectly, but I'm gonna use it. If you phonetically break down, I could care less. Does that mean you care a lot? Because most people will say it. They saying they don't care, like they don't care at all, but
Exactly.
I could care less means I care, and I could probably care a little less about this if you broke it down phonetically. But um, yeah, I don't know. Man, I
We,
could care less. Like y'all ain't gonna get on my nerve. Like we use it all the time. So
no,
do
we
we
use
really
it
care? And I
incorrectly.
really could care less about this. Interesting thought, food for thought, people. Food for thought. You know, we say stuff all the time. And
There's
just
another one. Why it's got to be food for thought?
there you go. And I say them all the time. And that's how I got a lot of them on my list. My other phone that's got a lot of them on there is upstairs. But I say them all the time, and I be like, what? I just be using these and don't even know why. Don't judge a book by its cover. Now, theoretically, that makes sense if you look at, because you can be like, this cover garbage. I don't even want to read it, but it'll be a great book. But still, who put that together?
Yeah.
Just thoughts, Brian. Just
Yeah.
thoughts.
I know this is not food for them no more. It's just thoughts, though.
Just thoughts. Yeah, just thoughts. We're going to drop the food because I don't know. Maybe somebody that was a foodie said that. Here's some food for thought.
Well, people, please enjoy this week as we are in the greatest time of year. March Madness
It's
is here.
the most wonderful time
And
of the year.
2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. It actually comes
What's happening
on
in
a
2 weeks?
Sunday. It actually comes on a Sunday. But
Easter?
on March 28th,
Oh,
which is a
Easter.
Sunday, March 28th, that Monday will be March 29th when we will have the show. But that is our 6-year anniversary of the Mac and T Show.
Watch out, world.
6
God is
years.
good. Woo! I remember where I was when Brian asked me about doing this.
6 years we've been running this.
Like, I know exactly where I was and what I was doing. Like, I can see it.
Well, we used to fight with Skype.
Oh, my gosh. No, it wasn't Skype. It was Google.
We did Skype for a minute, and then
But we was fighting with Google thing. You remember the Google thing just never wanted to be right. And then we wind up going to Skype.
Yes.
What was it, Google family? Nah, I mean, I'm making no word.
Whatever it
Google,
was, Google did not work out.
Google
Chats. Google.
No, that wasn't it. Whatever Google had to offer for their video conferencing.
Yeah,
it was a struggle bus.
We wouldn't just talk about people.
You ain't heard that from me.
Oh, no, you did not.
I ain't want to talk about nobody. But Google.
I ain't want to gossip. So
Google, that was y'all. I hope y'all don't upgrade it. Y'all Google thing. Cause Zoom, everybody's zooming it now.
Yeah, Zoom.
Even though there's some other ones out there, most people zoom. Can you zoom?
But as always, I'm one of your hosts, Brian Mackay, and I am with
T. Get vaccinated, Davis.
And this has been the Mac and T Show podcast. Thank you for listening.
This is the Mac and T Show. This is the Mac and T Show. We talk movies and TV shows, sports and world news, coasting like on a world cruise. Hosted by Brian Mackay and T Davis. Yeah, you can't tame us. We're going to the top, we're becoming famous.
What time is it?
It's time for the Mac and T Show.
What time is it?
I said it's time for the Mac and T Show.